Tonight we're going to talk about downtown Portland. It's not the same place it was before the pandemic. Lots of office workers went home for good and some businesses followed. But there have been no shortage of efforts to revitalize downtown to try and bring people back in. Are those efforts finally bearing some fruit? It's our big story tonight. According to the group Downtown Clean and Safe, numbers show that downtown Portland is on the rise. They say foot traffic hit a 4-year high this summer. 4 years ago, of course, is when the pandemic started. But according to their data, about 2.4 million people visited downtown Portland each month in June, July, and August. That's cool. That's an increase of about 2% over 2023. So not huge overall, but they say on the weekends, foot traffic is up about 9%, and that most people are visiting downtown Portland on Friday and Saturday. We asked Clean and Safe why they think more people showed up this summer.
The change in conditions downtown can be attributed to the decisions that were made over the last 12 to 18 months, specifically through the mayor's office, through emergency declarations that established the Street Services Coordination Center, created the city shelter team, increased the number of available beds for our houseless community, increased the number of resources for outreach workers, so that collectively, with outreach workers and outreach organizations, there was a greater increase of people being able to access services. And through that, that's changed the conditions downtown.
Now, I'm sure there are some of you out there who would argue that things have not really changed that much downtown despite those efforts. But Clean and Safe says their numbers do show that things are keeping people that were keeping people away are actually now trending in the right direction.
We've seen a dramatic decrease in the number of tents downtown. So over about 12 months ago, we were looking at over 200. Now it's about 50. And those are kind of closer to the social service organizations. And we have seen a massive decrease in the calls for open drug activity in the downtown core, even over the last 6 months since the governor's 90-day fentanyl crisis. We were responding to maybe over 200, 210 per month. Last month, we responded to 39. That's a huge decrease because of the collective efforts of the mayor's office, the Street Services Coordination Center, the Behavioral Health Resource Center, and also Portland Police Bureau, who is developing really collaborative relationships with all those entities.
Now, the report shows that hotels have had a lot more visitors this summer as well. The dark blue line is this year around 220,000 hotel rooms booked each month this summer. The yellow line is 2019, so we're not quite back up to those levels yet. A concerning stat, by the way, in their report, office vacancies are still climbing. That's the dark blue line on the graph. About 26% of offices are sitting empty in downtown Portland right now. That's 1 in 4. The light blue line shows retail vacancies downtown. Right now, it's about 7.8% of retail spaces that are empty. We've reported on a number of studies over the last few years where researchers have said that office workers are likely not coming back, and the way to save downtown is through events, arts and entertainment, things like that bring people out. Clean and Safe says their data supports that. More people are coming out on weekends and going to places where they can do something fun.
I believe the future of the revitalization of Portland is going to be based around events, art, culture, sports. We've seen some exciting developments with some future visions for what's going to happen in Portland in all of those aspects. We just had 2 huge concerts at the Timber Stadium, and the energy around those was amazing. And of course, the Timber Stadium, for example, if you're coming down for a big concert, you can actually park downtown and walk to the stadium and stop for dinner. And if some of the boutiques are open, you can shop as well. So downtown's pretty small, and the more people we can bring downtown to come to an event, the more people will also then eat in restaurants and shop at the local stores. So the future of Portland's vibrancy, I believe, is going to be built around that.
All right, that sounds very optimistic. Making downtown Portland a destination for the arts is top of mind right now for the Portland City Council. Today, for example, they voted unanimously to move forward with a plan to develop another Broadway venue at Portland State University that's just blocks away from the Keller Auditorium. The idea is that a new venue would be open and able to host shows while the Keller is closed down for major renovations. So in the end, we may end up with 2 venues capable of hosting Broadway shows in downtown Portland. The council approved a market feasibility study as well to look at whether or not we need 2 such venues. They're going to spend the next year looking at whether Portland has enough of a demand, and if so, what size the auditorium should be, and perhaps most importantly, how much is all that going to cost? Donnie Oliveira, Deputy City Administrator, seems to think it will not be a problem.
We're coming from a place of, we'll say, early analysis by some real key subject matter experts, our resident partners, resident arts companies, national developers who work in this space that are signaling that Portland is rich in arts and culture, but also it's a magnet area for the region. So really the market feasibility study is almost assuming the two venue scenario. The question is, what is the appropriate capacity of each of those venues? We really want to start to unpack the appropriate seat size. So we're almost hedging that we're looking at two venues, and now it's really about size and capacity.
If the feasibility study says it's a go, then work would begin to find the money, as well as permitting and design and public engagement on the PSU project. The new venue would be built on the Portland State University campus at Southwest 4th and Lincoln, with construction getting underway in 2027 at the earliest. The opening date would be 2029, which is when the Keller would then be closed for renovations. The city says this is still very much a preliminary plan, but the CEO of Broadway Across America says Portland does have the demand for two venues.
In Portland, we have grown our base of subscribers to over 19,000, and our shows are consistently selling out. More than 50% of this audience is coming from outside of the city. These are post-COVID numbers. The point is, Broadway is thriving in this city, and it makes Portland stand out to the touring Broadway industry. In fact, even when compared to much larger cities, Portland ranks third in the country when it comes to average weekly attendance. We think we can continue to grow this audience if capacity allows for growth.
That's encouraging as well. The group working on the proposal says they looked into other city venues that already exist, and none of them had the technical capability to handle a Broadway show.